Good morning. I'd like to call the February 18th, 2022 monthly meeting of the Washington County Board of Supervisors to order, please. And if we can start off with our prayer, Supervisor Clary.
Pray. Dear Father, the common theme among us seems to be that we're busier than any of us have ever been. And when we are doing that, we get to breathe, we get to look around, we get to look at all the things that you face us with. Help us to be more in the present. Help us to know that what we're doing today is important, that we're serving our communities, our families, our elderly, our farmers, that we're here for them. Amen.
Please rise, O'Brien. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In case of fire or other emergency, there's three exits in the room, there, and there. In case of emergency, please proceed to the stairway. Get on the stairway and clear the building as far away as possible so emergency squads can do their job. If you need assistance, please contact someone for assistance in getting out of the building. Please also silence your cell phones during this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor O'Brien. We'll now do roll call, please.
Mr. Hankey.
Here.
Mrs. Fedler.
She's here.
I'm here.
Mr. Ferguson.
I'm here. Here.
Mr. Shaw.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Fisher.
Here.
Mr. Hicks.
Here.
Mr. Nolan.
Here.
Mr. O'Brien.
Here.
Mr. Haff.
Here.
Mr. Campbell. Mr. Skelly.
Here.
Mr. Hogan.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Clary. Here. Mr. Griffith.
Here.
Mr. Rosell.
Here.
Okay, at this point in time, we will start the proceeding with the public hearing.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
Oh, it's off.
What am I doing wrong?
That's what happened. To join your audio, that's might be the problem. Screen.
Maybe I should.
Great. I'm trying to get into the right view so I can see the menu.
Morning, Brian.
Morning. Good result. That's good. Okay.
Legal notice, public hearing concerning introductory local law A of 2022. Notice is hereby given that the Washington County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on February 18, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. in person and via Zoom to consider the adoption of proposed introductory local law A of 2022 concerning the salaries of the county administrator, county attorney, commissioner of social services, superintendent of public works, sheriff, county clerk, county treasurer, director of real property tax services, coroners, election commissioners, and personnel officer for calendar year 2022.
Do we have any comments on the local law A of 2022? Sandy, do we have anyone on the line that's commenting? And there's no written comments on it? Another time, is there any comments on local law A of 2022? And one more time, are there any questions or comments regarding local law A of 2022? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing of local law A at 10:05 a.m.
Legal notice, public hearing concerning introductory local law B of 2022. Notice is hereby given that the Washington County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on February 18, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. in person in the Supervisors Chambers, 383 Broadway, Fort Edward, New York, via Zoom. Consider the adoption of introductory local law B of 2022 concerning amending a portion of Section E of Local Law 5 of 2020, providing for the amount of the reserve in the Washington Workers' Washington County desires to enact certain changes to the Washington County Workers' Compensation Self-Insurance Plan. A proposed change to Section E reserve increases the reserve amount from $1 million to $1,250,000.
Okay. Just bear with us just a second, please. Let's see if we can get this difficulty.
Open it at 10:06.
Okay, we opened up the public hearing for local law number B of 2022 at 10:06 a.m. Any comments on the local law number B? Once, twice, any comments, any questions? Seeing none? Third time? Any questions, any comments on local law B of 2022? Sandy, is there any comments or concerns over there on by dial in? Okay, having none, we will close the local law public hearing of B of 2022. Thank you, everyone. We will now move on to the condensed minutes. And the condensed minutes from the January 21st, 2022 meeting are accepted as mailed unless there are any additions or corrections. Does anyone have any additions or corrections at this time they'd like to offer? Okay, seeing none, we move on to communications.
For communications from Tri-County Literacy Center, correspondence requesting funding from the 3 counties they serve, Warren, Washington, and Saratoga counties. Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce, correspondence sent to the Commissioner of the Department of Labor urging his office to veto the Farm Laborers Wage Board decision to change the overtime threshold for farm employees from 60 hours to 40 hours. That's all I have for communications.
Thank you. We move on to COVID-19 update. Tim, would you do the honors, please?
All right, good morning, everybody. As we said last month, I'm much happier to report this morning that our numbers are down to 79 active cases, with out of that 4 active hospitalizations. So as we're starting to scale back COVID operations, our public health staff is continuing to do vaccine at the public health building on Wednesdays from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. We're continuing to do the PCR testing on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the day. You make an appointment online, and you come in person to the public health office. You call when you're outside, and they bring testing materials out to you. There has not been a large response for either of those as of late, but our public health team is continuing to offer those to anybody in our communities who are looking for them. Just wanted to give a big thank you to the EMS vaccination team. We know that they have been critical in our vaccination operations since the beginning of this. So as we start to scale back operations and the need for their support as of right now, they are in the process of resuming their other tasks that they were doing outside of that. And public health has pretty much taken over most of the vaccination operations, which includes doing the homebound now. So our nurses are going out and doing the homebound in addition to what the EMS folks were doing. So we are doing some community at-home test kit distributions. We started doing them here at the County Municipal Center at the front entrance, and we're doing them at the Public Health Building, in addition to the town halls that have been busy distributing tests for us. We do have some other community initiatives that we're going to be starting up here. You'll hear about at the beginning of the week. And the Office for the Aging and Social Services has also been a big help in getting into those home clients for us. Other than that, there's not much in the way of changes. We're continuing distribution to the public of KN95 masks and to the schools. And and we're continuing to support our schools in their effort to get a pathway to normalcy back from the state, so we have some kind of idea what we'll be looking at as we move forward. The school superintendents and their school boards have been working very hard to keep that moving forward and trying to get some additional guidance from the state. Other than that, I'm happy to say there's not much else to report.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions of Tim? Supervisor Haas?
I need to unmute? No. Sandy? No. Tim, you might not know the answer to this, but are there any plans for the county to get the Novavax vaccine, which is a traditional vaccine not made with mRNA? And I think if we ever do get the Novavax, we may find a surge of people interested that were hesitant to get the Moderna or the Pfizer vaccine because it's more of a traditional vaccine. Have you heard anything about that?
I know it is in discussions at much higher level, at the federal and state level. Nothing has been pushed down to the county as far as a date or a potential when we could expect any of that, though.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions for Tim? Tim, thank you once again for the great job you guys do. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports. The audit report. We have a motion to accept the audit report.
Chairman, I make a motion to accept the audit report.
Made by Supervisor O'Brien, seconds please. Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any others? Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. We do have a proclamation. It was in your packet. It was for recognition of Carl T. Baker for the 33rd Annual J. Walter Junkett Award recipient, and you've all been provided with a copy of that. And we will move on to the supervisor's privilege of the floor. Do we have anyone who wants to speak from the floor? Any supervisors that have extended any privilege? Seeing none, we will move on to the introduction of the resolutions.
Resolution number 45 by Supervisors Clary, Campbell, Fedler, Shaw, Skelly, Ferguson, Wilson, titled to appoint and reappoint members, Office for the Aging Advisory Council. Chairman, moving resolution number 45.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Second? Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Henke. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 46 by Supervisors Skelly, Roselle, Happ, O'Brien, Fedler, Shaw, Ferguson, Wilson, Fisher, titled, a resolution authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marcia Shelley program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore, Church Street over the Meadowee River.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution number 46.
Moved by Supervisor Skelly. Do we have a second, please? Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor O'Brien. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 47 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, titled to adopt introductory local law A of 2022.
Moving resolution number 47.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have a second? Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Wilson. Don't believe I missed anyone. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir. Supervisor Happ.
Does this resolution include the, I call them bonuses, but nobody else calls them bonuses? Is that included, because their salaries were increased by $2,500 or $5,000, many of these, right?
That's our bonuses. So that's actually
But
salary.
that's into these salaries.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any other further discussion? Seeing or hearing none? All in favor? This is a roll call.
Mr. Henke.
Yes.
Ms. Fedler.
yes,
Ferguson,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Hicks,
Yes.
Mr. Nolan,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Haff,
No.
Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Skelly,
Yes.
Mr. Hogan,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Clary, yes, Mr. Griffith,
Yes.
Mr. Rozell.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,507 yes, 183 no. Resolution number 48 by Supervisors Wilson, Hogan, Hicks, O'Brien, Clary, Rozell, titled to adopt District Attorney's 2022 crime forfeiture spending plan.
Mr. Chairman, moving Resolution 48.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson. Do we have second? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Campbell. Don't think I missed anyone, so let's move on to discussion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none or hearing none? All in favor say yes, or raise your hand, please.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay, I'm against forfeiture.
We have one opposed. Okay. On to the, resolution number 49.
Resolution number 49 by Supervisors Wilson, Hogan, Hicks, O'Brien, Clary, Rozell, titled to make appointment to the Washington County EMS Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, moving Resolution number 49.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson. Do we have a second? Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Carried.
I think this is a hat trick.
Resolution number 50 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Haff, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, titled to adopt introductory local law B of 2022.
Moving resolution number 50.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Okay, we're on to the roll call.
Mr. Henke.
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler.
yes,
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Mr. Nolan.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Mr. Haff.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Skelly.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Clary. Yes. Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Mr. Rozell.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted, 4,690 yes. Resolution number 51 by Supervisors Wilson, Hogan, Haff, Hicks, O'Brien, Clary, Rozell, title to set fee for septic permit renewal code enforcement.
Mr. Chairman, moving Resolution number 51.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson. Second, please. Supervisor Henke, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Clary. Is there any discussion? Yes, excuse me, please, Supervisor Shaw.
Yeah, I don't understand the need, and I missed the meeting, so I apologize. This is it somebody that's applied for a permit to replace a septic system and then they don't get it replaced within a year, and so this is just a renewal fee to keep that permit for another year?
That's the way I understand it.
Okay, I mean, it just seems
Let me
strange because
make sure we get a definite.
as a rule, you don't get a septic permit unless your septic is failing, and then they can get another year out of it, they've done well.
Yeah, let me just double check that to make sure, Melissa?
That is the reason that the department head gave, yes.
Okay, very good,
Exactly
thank
what
you.
you just stated.
Okay, very good. All right, any further discussion? And all in favor, signify by saying aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 52 by Supervisor Hall, title appoint member of the counties of Warren and Washington Industrial Development Agency and Civic Development Corporation.
I move resolution number 52, please. You have a second? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Hogan, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 53 by Supervisors Griffith, Campbell, Hicks, O'Brien, Shaw, Sally, Ferguson, title Resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Washington County establishing Washington County as municipal partner to the proposed fairground broadband infrastructure upgrade project of the application by Washington County Fairgrounds to the U.S. Economic Development Administration, U.S. Department of Commerce, 2021 American Rescue Plan Act Competitive Construction Grant.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 53.
Moved by Supervisor Griffith. Do we have a second? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisors Kelly, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Fiedler, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I didn't see the hand. Sorry, Dana. Supervisor Hack, please.
This says that the grant requires a municipal partnership with the applicant, Washington County Fairgrounds. What is our role in being a partner?
We're the lead agency, Dana.
There's no money involved.
They need a
lead agency.
They need a partnership, Dana. We're the lead agency.
But what do we do as a partner?
The money may pass through us. We'll have to see if it's awarded, what the mechanics are, but it's very possible that the money will flow through us to them.
Yeah,
No county dollar.
Chairman Griffith has a comment on that too, Chairman of the committee. Go ahead, Supervisor.
I said the same thing that Al was saying. We're just the lead agency pass through.
Okay. I see another hand, Supervisor Shaw.
Yeah, was there a dollar amount? I don't see it in the resolution. I didn't know what we're talking here.
Up to 10 million. Remember right?
And it was a 2080 match, wasn't it?
Yeah. If we read it, it says the proposed agreement will be for a county contribution of $25,000 annually. Is that about the third or fourth line down, Dan? If I'm on the right one.
I think it was in the planning stages and the grant was up to $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. There's a range of awards. Yeah.
For $10 million for the county fairgrounds?
They can apply, it was like different phases, but the most you could get was 10 million.
I think you can buy the entire fairgrounds for $10 million.
Supervisor Fiedler.
I wish we could do everything for 10 million at the fairgrounds. I believe I don't stake my life on it, but I believe the grant will be under $1 million and the fair is aware of the 20% match.
Yeah, I
This was all
believe.
discussed in Jim's committee previously.
Yeah, what we talked about was $200,000 of what the fair was looking to contribute. So what Cassie said, they're $1 million.
Thank you.
It says in the minutes, it says available funds between 100,000 and 10 million and requires a 20% match.
And I believe the fairground had a specific use and they had a dollar amount, which was $1 million is what they needed for the project that they were going to apply for.
Okay.
Thank you. Supervisor Hack.
If it's a match, are we matching with county dollars or are we matching with county ARPA dollars?
Fair dollars.
Fair dollars. There's nothing coming out of our budget, Dana.
All right, so it's the fairgrounds that have to come up with a match.
Yes.
Yeah. Our partnership is just a pass-through documentation.
Yep.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, signal saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 54 by Supervisors Griffith, Campbell, Hicks, O'Brien, Shaw, Skelly, Ferguson, title authorized agreement with Hudson Valley Agribusiness Development Corporation.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 54.
Moved by Supervisor Griffith. Second, please. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Wilson. Supervisor Shaw. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 55 by Supervisors Fedler, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Roselle, Wilson, Fisher, title to amend the Washington County travel policy.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 55, please.
Moved by Supervisor Fedler. Do we have a second? Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 56 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title to cancel interest and penalties, Town of Hebron.
Moving resolution number 56.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Ferguson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 57 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title to cancel tax roll, Town of Jackson, to correct tax roll.
Moving resolution number 57.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 58 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public health budget to carry over unspent COVID-19 vaccine response funds.
Moving resolution 58.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Anyone? No. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 59 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public health budget to carry over unspent school testing program funds.
Moving resolution number 59.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds, please? Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 60 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public health budget to carry over unspent COVID-19 enhanced detection funds.
Moving resolution number 60.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 61 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public health budget to carry over unspent preparedness grant funds.
Moving resolution number 61.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have a second, please? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 62 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feathers, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public health budget to carry over unspent early intervention administration grant.
Moving resolution number 62.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 63 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feathers, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public health budget to carry over unspent district funds.
Moving resolution number 63.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. We have seconds, please. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 64 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feathler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public health budget to carry over unspent child passenger safety grant.
Moving resolution number 64.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 65 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feathers, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public health budget for the Public Health Corps Fellowship Program.
Moving resolution number 65.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Seconds, please. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 66 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feathers, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 budget to carry over unspent emergency rental assistance program funds.
Moving resolution number 66.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 67 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feathers, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 IT budget for website upgrade.
Moving resolution number 67.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Happ.
This says here that it's to increase the enhanced mode for encrypted forms. Whenever I get an email from the county, even if it's an email that's meant for public outreach, it has a confidential stamp on the bottom. And it happens every single time. Even they say this is a public statement. Are we now going to have a worse problem where we're going to get these emails and I have to sign in some password, it's all going to be encrypted, but it's going to be meant for the public?
Good question, Dave. Any thoughts on that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything coming out like that, but
I hadn't either. There's going to be anything other
look
than
at my email here.
This was for public health to receive like HIPAA forms, I believe.
That are secure.
Right. Secure documents with information.
Okay.
Other departments also might have a desire for that.
Well, I get emails from Tim Hardy that's meant for public release, and right on the bottom it says it has a confidential stamp, and it's stupid.
I was just looking at an email from the county that says they may contain privileged and/or confidential information.
Okay.
That goes on every single email you get, regardless of if it's meant for public release or not. I always ask Tim, can I release this? He gives me special permission.
further discussion?
Can that stamp be edited, not automatically included on every email we get?
I can't answer that question. Terry, have to ask it to Roger when Roger's in.
He's not here, but I think there's legal requirement to put it on for protection.
I think when you overuse confidential stamp like that, it gets ignored. It should be used when it's meant to be used.
Yeah.
Chairman, in regards to this resolution, this is a module that's an add-on to our website to allow the departments to handle some confidential material electronically to encrypt those forms. So this isn't anything to do with any of the email correspondence.
Okay.
This is a module that will live on our website to allow departments to interact with the public in a secure manner through the website.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's more of an internal within the departments.
It could be payroll forms for me, it could be HIPAA forms for public health, things like that.
Okay. Good. Does that clarify it, Supervisor Hack?
Well, I don't think payroll forms go on the county website.
It would allow me to do that, though. If you wanted to send me a W-4 electronically, you'd have a way to do that safely.
I wouldn't send it through the website.
You wouldn't have to, but you'd have the ability to. The request originally came from public health, but it wouldn't be limited to just public health.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 68 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Cleary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2021 budget for psychiatric expense.
Moving resolution number 68.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. We have a second, please. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Henke.
This is just, Brian, this is just getting us to zero for 2021, right?
Yes.
What's that beginning?
Any further discussion?
Not enough.
Seeing none, all in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 69 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Cleary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 mental health budget for jail-based transition release services.
Moving resolution 69.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Hogan, Supervisor Nolan. I apologize for that. Supervisor Fedler and Supervisor Ferguson. See no others, is there any discussion? All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 70 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Cleary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 Sewer District Number 2 budget for office furniture.
Moving resolution number 70.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have a second, please? Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 71 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Cleary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend budget capital project number 113, Homeland Security Grants for FY 2021 award.
Moving resolution number 71.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have a second, please? Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fedler. Is there any discussion? Hearing or seeing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 72 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Cleary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith, title amend 2022 public safety budget to carry over unspent emergency management performance grant.
Moving resolution 72.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 73 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith. Title amend capital project number 126, County Route 61, Bridge over the Batten Kill, Fusion.
Moving resolution number 73.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have second? Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Roselle. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Half.
I'm against eminent domain just as much as forfeiture, so it would be a vote on this, but no on this.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? So all in favor, say by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
We have one nay. Carried.
Resolution number 74 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith. Title to amend capital project number 127, Church Street number 2.
Moving resolution number 74.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 75 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith. Title to authorize acceptance of water quality improvement grant project number 109788, Washington County Roadside Erosion Remediation Program, and amend budget.
Moving resolution number 75.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Seconds, please. Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Wilson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 76 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith. Titled authorized acceptance of water quality improvement grant project number 109293, Washington County Culvert Replacement Program, and amend budget.
Moving resolution number 76.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Seconds, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Wilson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 77 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Roselle, Wilson, Griffith. Title, authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore, CR 37, Burgoyne Avenue pavement preservation.
Moving resolution number 77.
Supervisor Campbell has moved 77. Seconds would be Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 78 by Supervisors Hicks, Skelly, Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, Wilson. Title amend staffing pattern, sewer district number 2.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 78.
Moved by Supervisor Hicks. Do we have a second? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 79 by Supervisors Hicks, Skelly, Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, Wilson. Title amend the staffing pattern, treasurer.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 79.
Moved by Supervisor Hicks. Do we have a second, please? Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Roselle, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Did I miss anyone? No. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 80 by Supervisors Hicks, Kelly, Campbell, O'Brien, Feather, Clary, Wilson, title amend staffing pattern DPW road fund.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 80.
Moved by Supervisor Hicks. Seconds, please. Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Fedler, or Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 81 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Feather, Skelly, Hogan, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title to award mini bid number 9082 for one-ton crew cab 4x4 truck.
Moving resolution number 81.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Second, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Clary, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 82 by Supervisor Half, title rescind resolution number 155 dated May 15, 2020, titled to adopt countywide mask policy.
Introducing resolution 82.
Moved by Supervisor Half. Do we have a second, please? Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Fisher, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Clary. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Half.
Thank you. Sandy, can I have your help for one moment to pass this out? Mr. Chairman, I have statements of support from every single member of the New York State Legislature elected to represent Washington County and our Congresswoman Elise Stefanik to rescind the county's mask mandate from 2020. I'd like to read these into the record. Elise Stefanik, U.S. House of Representatives, New York 21st District. It is long past time to rescind the mask mandate. Our upstate communities and families have suffered enough from unprecedented challenges due to the pandemic, and there is no need to burden them with continued unscientific COVID mandates driven by far-left politics. I support Supervisors Half's leadership in this issue on behalf of the freedom of Washington County families. I have a statement from Daniel Steck, New York State Senate, 45th District. I agree. It is past time to eliminate these mask mandates. I have a statement from Daphne Jordan, New York Senate, 43rd District. I support Hartford Supervisor Dana Half's common sense resolution seeking the rescission of Washington County's mask policy. As Supervisor Half clearly articulated, the current policy forces county workers and the general public to wear a face covering upon entry to a county property. As COVID cases statewide have thankfully cratered, and New York is reporting very low rates of transmission, it's critical that we take all necessary steps to return to normal. Not a new normal, but actual normal. Our children, communities, businesses, and citizens have endured 2 years of overreaching government mandates that shut down our economy and caused countless significant disruptions to our daily routines and our daily lives. While I strongly support public safety and the right of my partners in local government to make the best decisions for their community, I believe it's time that the county mask policy conclude as we return to normal. I support Supervisors Half's practical resolution that would make this a reality. This statement is from Carrie Warner, New York Assembly 113th District, who is my Assemblywoman. At this point, nearly 2 full years since the beginning of the pandemic, we have far more robust set of tools to protect our own health. Masks, social distancing, hand washing served as a purpose to flatten the curve so that the healthcare system did not collapse. Today, we have vaccines that are mostly protective, and therapeutics are available when the vaccines are not sufficient, or for those that are unable to or choose not to be vaccinated. Individuals are more comfortable wearing a mask when they are indoors to should always be encouraged to make that choice for themselves. But I think we have to move past the need to mandate masks as the only way to protect public health. This statement is from Matthew Simpson, New York Assembly, 114th District. Living in a constant state of emergency with unilateral decision-making is behind us. We must normalize true legislative governing once more. Lifting the mask mandate on businesses and public spaces was the right thing to do. From day one, I have stood firm against top-down mandates for all. I have reiterated the notion that we must have a choice in the matter. We have a ways to go before we find normalcy again, however. One step in that direction is to remove these mandates from each level of public and private sectors. I fully support the Washington County Board of Supervisors in their decision to remove this mandate. And finally, I have a comment from Jake Ashby, New York Assembly, 107th District. I wholeheartedly support this resolution, and it is time for Washington County's Municipal Center in Fort Edward to return to normalcy and allow employees and public their own autonomy to make the decision to wear a mask. These mandates have gone on far too long. I'm encouraged that we are finally moving in the right direction. So at this time, I would like to invite Chairman Sam Hall to co-sponsor my resolution with me.
I will do that.
Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome. And I had, I think, Mr. Hankey, and Mr. O'Brien.
I'm first.
Yes, if you like the best.
I seconded this, I support, following the guidelines that we've gotten, which is essentially the sending masks on school properties. I supported school properties also, but I am not really comfortable with the way this is going down. This is not, I'm not criticizing. Okay, don't think of this as criticism, because I know you know Dana's resolution was coming, and so you let it go. I would have greatly preferred to see a special meeting of Health and Human Services and heard from our health staff and heard from some of the department heads with personnel are in here every day, meeting with the public, which are coming in with them. I would like to have had their input on it, as opposed to supervisors who, may be sitting home zooming in on this whole business and not being anywhere near the front lines. I would have preferred to see it go through our normal process as opposed to having this happen, but, I'll certainly support this when it comes up for a vote.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Bob, and just in response to that is, I did talk with Public Health. The CDC is in the process of probably reducing it, taking it away. We were at it because we were at the higher threshold, is the way we were still recommended by the CDC to be under that, and that number is dropping rapidly. And I did discuss that with Public Health, and they said, okay, they understood the need for it. So,
This is just another example of
right.
Government mandating down on people that,
right.
that should be having a say in what they're doing.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate your comments. Dave.
Well, since this is the first time we've seen Dan in quite a while, I think we should vote this down, so we come back next month again and try again. I'm voting to start calling him the Omicron variant anyway.
Sue?
I think the last 2 years have taught all of us, a lot, and I will, like to go back to like Terry Werner's statement, because individuals who are more comfortable wearing a mask than they are indoors should always be encouraged to make that choice for themselves. I think that employees here, if they feel more comfortable in doing their jobs with their mask, because some of them have become more comfortable, to not feel like they can't. That's important. I think Dick Ashby said the same thing. Your own autonomy and the decision to wear a mask. It's going to be a transition period. We've been wearing them for 2 years. If people are more comfortable doing that, they should maybe feel the same for doing that. And we've got to respect each other's own personal comfort zones and go forward in that manner. But I will support this. I don't like the way it came either, because, had some like this, we all would have questioned where it came from and why. And this is an important thing because right now, it's gone into the school system, it's gone into other areas, and we have to be careful how we go forward. Not gone. Everybody's worked very, very hard to go back to normal, and let's hope that we're going in the right direction. Let's keep it going in the right direction. So, yes, I'll support it. They also want people to feel more, if they're more comfortable wearing masks, let them wear masks.
Thank you, Sue. You have your hand up,
James has a comment. I'll let other people comment
James,
before
okay.
I comment a second time, if that's okay.
Sure. James?
Thank you. So first off, I'm for this. I thank you, Dana, for bringing it forward. The question I have, we still have the other, requirements, like temperature check when we come in, that's still in place. We're just talking about removing the mask as a mandate to enter the building.
That's correct.
Okay.
Or that's the way I understand it to be. The resolution reads. Where's half?
Thank you, Zen. I think we have to remember the history of how Resolution 155 came about in May of 2020. If you remember, we shut down 14 days to flatten the curve. And then this resolution, 155, for the mask policy, was a plan of how the county could reopen. And I have the minutes from that meeting of May 15th, 2020. And I'm going to read a comment from Mr. DeBolt, who was the county administrator at that time. And he says, the state has an executive order that requires face mask use in public. The thought behind this policy is that as we bring employees back, we as the employer have to take certain steps to keep the public and our workforce safe and compliant. And as private businesses are being asked to put together plans that will be submitted to the Regional Control Center, this is essentially one component of our plan to move forward in bringing back the employees. So this is the codification of what we are expecting of our employees with regard to the appropriate use of face masks and compliance with the state and federal guidelines. A lot has happened since 2020. We've learned a lot more. We have therapeutics. We have vaccines. There no longer is a governor mandate in place. I don't know why we had to have our own basic mandate. You can argue it's not a mandate because all the Board of Supervisors approved it. But if you require an employee to wear something, he or she is mandated to wear a mask or they're going to have disciplinary action. So it is a mandate. And things have changed. Resolution 155 in 2020 had no sunset date. Granted, it was kind of a temporary resolution to get us so that we could reopen. That's the danger of these things. These things need to have sunset dates. Even if you know you're going to renew it, say for 3 months. And then after 3 months, you review it and you renew it. But Resolution 155 has no sunset date. It could go on forever. And I think we all know that the temperature of the public out there, just like me, they're sick and tired of wearing these masks. These things are useless. These things will only stop something that's about 20 to 30 microns in size. Spittle, basically. And the virus is 0.1 micron. If you wear this mask and your glasses fog up, guess what? It's not working. So I hope everyone votes yes on this resolution so that the employees can get some freedom back. And I agree with Stu. We need mask rights. You have the right to wear a mask without criticism, and you have the right not to wear a mask without criticism. Thank you.
Supervisor Campbell.
I just remember a couple of things as this went on, and hopefully everyone else can remember them too. Mr. DeBolt, I remember in one of our first meetings, claimed it was no different than the flu, and we found out that wasn't real. And the supervisor claimed nobody had died in the county, and we're getting close to 100, so I know that's no longer true. So there's been a lot of things have changed through here, and the reason for the mask really was to keep our operations functional. And it did, we succeeded in that.
we still had times that there were certain departments where people were out, or whole sections of departments were out. But it did its job, and I believe it's time for us to, rescind the resolution. But I also believe that if someone feels more comfortable wearing them, I think it's a good idea. Supervisor Hess?
If I could beat the dead horse one more time.
Sure.
This is a report from the CDC, and it was issued January 28th, 2022, just a short time ago. And it's all about types of masks and respirators. It's a whole guideline on all the different kinds of masks. So remember, our countywide policy requires a cloth face covering. And the CDC says that loosely woven cloth products provide the least protection of any mask out there. But yet we make everyone wear them.
Supervisor Fedler?
Two things. We keep all agreeing on the same thing, so maybe it's time we just move to a vote. But poor Supervisor Ferguson has had his hand up. At least Dana has spoken at least twice since poor Paul has had his hand up.
I apologize for that, Paul. I did see it buried down in the corner again.
That's okay. I'm always in the corner for some reason. I want to commend Dana for, doing all this work. I know his heart is in the right place, and he just wants, the towns, the county, and the whole state just to have some normalcy. And it should be choice on wearing a mask. And I support you, Dana.
Thank you.
So is there any other further discussion? Seeing none? Let's do a roll call, please.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Ms. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes?
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Haff?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Skelly?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
yes,
Clary? Yes. Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
yes,
Resolution is adopted, 4,690 yes.
Woo-hoo! Yay! That's the first time everyone agreed with me. We didn't want to put that out. All right. Supervisors have any comments? Any other comments? Supervisor Shaw?
Something, Mr. Griffith made a, question on about the temperature taking.
Yes.
You're keeping that in place?
We're referring that to when public health tells us it's okay to take it off for precautionary measures, we will.
So we're gonna look at all of the restrictions that we put on and start reviewing them?
Yep, we've already started that process. Some have been internally.
Thanks.
Okay, but we're working at it as it goes down.
How about going back into committee meetings like we used to do? Is that something we're gonna do, or is that something that's gonna be reviewed?
That's part of what we'll do, is we go back down. Yeah, we discussed that public safety this morning as far as to where they thought we were within that point, where we are within the CDC guidelines and that type of stuff. And we should be able to get back to some kind of normalcy here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Somebody else, Bob, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry.
Couple of things. Number one, happy birthday to Tina McDougal, Argyle resident, or public health person. 29 today, right? I think she's, I was thinking it was 31, something like that. I would also like to explain, the use of the word normalcy. People have used the word normalcy. That was never a word that was invented by a politician. I think that we should never use the word normalcy unless you support Warren G. Harding. And I would this point, say if everybody is so gung-ho to off the mask and stuff, we ought to quit this Zoom crap and just have a meeting, make it come down off the hill into the board meeting. I personally have found it incredibly convenient. I have to be at every single committee meeting, and there's times I have to be somewhere else, and it saves me a lot of really fast driving. To be able to Zoom and into a meeting, then go somewhere else, and, you know, that I have personally found it convenient, and I've used Zoom several times. However, I think that if we're gonna be here, we ought to be here.
Okay, so why don't we, put that back in front of the, Government Ops Committee, and then we'll make a decision on it, okay? Give people time a chance to think about it, digest it, because I know I've had several people, I shouldn't say several people, I had a couple of people that have indicated they still like to do on the Zoom to have the convenience of it. So I think that for that, we'll put it back before the committee then, as the point was made earlier today, yes, Dana?
Regarding Zoom, I think just like masks, we should not have our own layer of mandate. If the governor puts out a mandate, we have to follow, but we should have our own layer. Zoom, until the legislature changes the open meetings law, we should not end Zoom. We should wait until the state says you can no longer do Zoom. I like Zoom. You know, with the price of gas the way it is, I've saved a lot not driving here. I'm very comfortable on Zoom. There's maybe sometimes I have to do something and I can't take the time to drive half an hour here, half an hour home, but I can attend on Zoom. So I personally like Zoom, but I think we shouldn't do anything ourselves. We should wait until the open meetings law no longer allows Zoom, and then do it.
Okay.
Right now, it's been extended till 3/16, so we'll see what happens 3/16 if we extend it or not.
Okay.
But I do happen to agree that, well, we can't, there are people that attend meetings that usually don't. So while it may have a layer of complexity, I think that maybe if people who are not on committee meetings could attend by Zoom, it would increase participation. And I think that's very important that people hear what happens before they vote on things on the floor.
Did I see somebody else? Brian, was your hand up?
Well,
my
disagreement with Dana has already started, and we just were unanimous a few minutes ago, because I find it interesting that Dana Half is the one that wants us to listen to everybody else and not make decisions for himself. I've never seen Dana that mode before.
I always make a decision for myself.
Oh, that's why you're waiting for the governor. I guess that kind of catches me off guard. I think we're elected to make decisions here at the county, and unless we're mandated by the governor to do something, I think we should continue to make decisions. I think Zoom is convenient, and there's some good things about it, but I think what we lack and what we hear and know what's going on from being on Zoom instead of being in the building and having a personal discussion, I think that's what's missing here. I think we're a more cohesive body when we work together, talk together, and be in the same room and discuss things than we do when we're just all over the place. We're just far more focused. And I miss that. I think that's important, and I hope we get back to it sooner than later.
Okay, so, as indicated earlier, why don't we, put this into good hands of the, Government Ops Committee and, discuss it, hash it out there, and we can discuss it out at those committee meetings and then bring it back and we'll take a full vote on how we want to handle it, okay? Does that work for everybody?
Now the good answer.
Chairwoman, you okay with that?
Yes,
Okay, very
I'm
good.
fine with it.
All right, are there any other comments?
I'm embarrassed to say that I agree with Dana twice in one day. That I do enjoy. Apparently my day is gonna go downhill.
I'm gonna play the lottery today. I might get lucky.
All right. Is there anything to come before, anything else, any other supervisors' comments or anything else to come before the meeting? If not, then, everybody have a good, President's Day up and coming, and, be safe out there. It's supposed to get a little frigid again tonight, and, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Be safe, everybody.